What is good, y'all? This is Jayvee here, and today got another episode of Jayvee's Gems. I can't believe it's episode 4 already, and this is the series that I always wanted to make, so I'm really glad to finally get into it. And if you guys are first-time watchers, you don't know what this is. It's basically, I take some time. It ranges in time. The last episode was super long. That drum was like 25 minutes. I promise you guys, it probably won't be that long again. I'll try to make it a little bit more speedy, because that drum killed my voice and everything. Whereas this time, some time that I just sit back, relax, and just talk about some of the music that I've been jamming to lately, and maybe, you know, put you guys onto some new artists and get some feedback down below of what you guys maybe have been listening to. So let's just get into it. Usually I name 5 or 6 albums and some notable mentions, and then I just go into a little bit of depth into them and, you know, what I know about these artists. First album we got is Kyle's Smyle. Now, this is an artist you guys might not be, you know, onto. He came onto my radar from a feature on Donnie Trumpet and Chance the Rapper's last project, Surf. And, you know, I thought that was just a really cool contribution. He had a really interesting delivery. He's, you know, strangely articulate. Like, he has a certain kind of style, but I definitely heard, like, the same kind of, like, soulful influence in his intonation and his delivery and what I hear in like Chance and Vic. So when I first heard Kyle rap, I was like, yo, is he out of Chicago too? Because like those three together sound like, not even just their voice, not necessarily their rhyming styles, but the kind of way they approach beats are very similar. So I was like, yo, is homeboy out of Chicago? But I looked, no, he's actually out of LA. And so now we have his project Smyle that kind of dropped a little low key. I don't think it has any physicals out. I think it was a digital release only. And I wasn't going into this expecting too much. I had heard 2 singles off it, and both of them had 2 different flavors. The first one was Really Yeah, which was the first song that I bumped into that was on this project. And this is definitely more of a radio hype piece, you know, real simple, you know, really, yeah, I loved it. I turned my friends onto it, they were digging it too. And I was like, yo, this is definitely like an interesting kind of approach to it, but I don't know what, is he gonna carry a whole full project like this? And then I jumped onto a song called The Force with that Star Wars influence. And the cool thing about The Force was that it definitely had a soulfulness to it, a lot more melody. He was singing in it, and I was like, yo, like this guy is a lot more talented than maybe I was giving him credit for. And so finally I walked into this project and I listened to Smyle, and honestly, it's my favorite project out right now. Like, up against like everything else, it's the one that I've had in rotation the longest of all these projects I'm gonna, you know, list right now. This is the one I've been listening to the most. Great, you know, nice little contribution, but for the most part he holds it on his own. He has a Yuna feature on, the Malaysian singer. He has a feature by Chance the Rapper, of course. So I mean, decent participation on that behalf, but the song is absolutely fantastic. It draws inspirations from everywhere. You have that R&B influence, there's that hip-hop influence, there's deep house in it. I hear some kind of, there's points where it only like sounds a little 90s Euro dance-ish at points, like on small little sections. They have like Japanese interludes where like it has like Japanese, like almost like anime theme kind of, there's definitely an anime influence. So you could tell this is a guy that's like multi-sided, like a Rubik's Cube. There's just so many sides to him, so many influences. And so this album really speaks to me because I see all the inspirations that go into him and that inspires him musically are stuff that really speak to me musically. So I felt like we were on the same page and I understand a lot of it. And again, The Force would probably have to be one of my favorite tracks on it. Upon listening to it more, and once I get more and more familiar with this album, I probably, you know, shift, because this is just an absolutely fantastic album. From front to beginning, there are 0 skippables on it. So if I had to, over all these albums in this episode, if I had to suggest you check out one, Kyle Smyle, please check it out. It's absolutely fantastic. Second one, Born of Osiris, Soul Sphere. Now, Born of Osiris is a metalcore band that I am a huge fan of ever since their 2011 release, The Discovery. And they have some projects from before then, but I feel like Discovery is when they really came into what they are now. They introduced a whole kind of like ethereal, celestial aesthetic that they go for, that weird kind of like universal kind of way of thinking, and then they go, you know, deep into that particular themes. And they followed it up with Tomorrow We Die Alive, which was more of that. I was a big fan of Tomorrow We Die Alive, but again, I didn't really tread any new ground. And Soul Sphere. One of Born of Osiris, in my opinion, best qualities is that they're consistent. And some people would hold it to a fault for them, that they say, oh, they just do the same stuff over and over again. And I get that. But for me, I'd rather them do what they're best at, like a band like August Burns Red, than kind of go off in a different direction and make a shitty album, in my opinion. More like the Parkway Drive that they released, which, no offense to Parkway Drive, but they kind of took a different turn with them, as opposed to like Bring Me the Horizon, that they took a different turn. But I think they still put out a decent album. Parkway Drive put out an album that I wasn't feeling at all. It was sounding like some 80s Slayer kind of stuff, and no offense to 80s rock bands, but that is not what I'm trying to be listening to. But Born of Osiris, they took their formula, which really brought them to popularity, and they fine-tuned it to the point. But they also kind of went back to their roots and more aggressive styles, and there's definitely parts where I see inspirations of like gent in this, more of a gent metal kind of, in terms of some of the time signatures they use and some of the guitar riffs. Definitely have, that electronic kind of presence that was in the Discovery. We have that. We have some of the drum, the heavy drumming of Tomorrow We Die Alive. So to me, this is kind of like the climax of their work. And I'm really excited to see what they do next after this point. But obviously this album just came out, so I'm not trying to rush them into a new project. But I thought it was really cool in that regard. So yeah, again, Born of Osiris, Soul Sphere, great vibes, a great listen beginning to end. But I would suggest you check out their other albums before you check this out and really see if it's really your flavor, because if you didn't like their other projects, then this is not one you're gonna like either. It's definitely within the same, all in the same vein. The third album, we have The Games Documentary 2.5, and I know this one's a little late, but I finally got around to listening to it, and I picked up my physical. On my last album lot video, I showed you guys that I have both 2 and 2.5, and so now we're getting into the second half and walking into this. I was expecting this one to be better, just because a lot of the music reviewers, and maybe this is a fault on my end, I listen to a lot of music reviews, and I try my best not to do it before I listen to a project, because I don't want to walk into it with any preconceived notions. But with 2.5, because it took me so long to finally get into, I kind of cracked to the pressure, and I checked out my favorite reviewers, Dead End Hip Hop and Anthony Fantano, and they were, from what I was hearing, a lot of people were feeling that 2.5 was a better project than the first part, or So, and I really enjoyed the first part, so I was like, if 2.5 is better, yo, like, we got ourselves something real special here. And for me, 2.5 is better for what it's trying to do, but in terms for my ear, for listenability and digestibility and what I'm gonna be, bumping on the regular, it's actually not as good as 2, in my opinion. I like 2 better. And the reason for that is, for 2.5, as much as I liked it, and I think everything was super fine-tuned and precise, and I think he was really spitting and really doing what the game does best, I liked what he did in 2, because I felt like 2 versus 2.5, and I know this might get a little confusing because I'll just be saying 2. But I felt like in the first part, he was a little bit more ambitious. He did a couple of things that I felt like I'd never seen from him before. With the exception for the bonus track El Chavo, I felt like 2.5 was a little safe at time. He definitely went that, West Coast, at points like G-Funk kind of feel to it. will.i.am presence too. Mike Will was in the first part. He had some really good names on the second part. And again, I'm a big fan. And let me grab the album over here. Alright, yeah, got the physical right here. We got Anderson .Paak again, who we saw on the Compton soundtrack. Schoolboy Q, J-Rock, loved that song. I did like that song, Gangbang Anyway. That had that cool TDE presence, so I really enjoyed that. Scarface, who just dropped the album not too long ago, that was a big fan. DJ Quick and 7th Streeter. E40 on the song Outside was pretty dope. Problem and Ty Dolla $ign and Outside on Up on the Wall. Sex Skit was a little... I see where the inspiration... It brought me 100% back to that interlude on Biggie's Ready to Die with Lil Kim, so I was just like, oh, for real? Like, King Mez on Moment of Violence, and Busta Rhymes on Follow Like Sun, which is probably my favorite song on the album. Dope album, you know what I mean? A dope contribution. For me, I felt like, and I had heard this on one of the reviews, is that if he took the best songs on this one and took the best songs on Documentary 2 Part 1, we could have had something to really rank up as a real sequel album. But I have to say, my final thoughts. You know, for a sequel album, this is absolutely fantastic follow-up. You know what I mean? I'm really impressed with his ability to do that. I was really nervous. Sequel albums never do very good, you know, in my opinion. Like Capone Noriega's War Report 2. Like some of these you don't even hear about. But man, I'm really, you know, excited for what he's doing. This is in total, Documentary 2, the whole project as a whole, best project I've heard from him since like Devil's Advocate probably. So yeah, man, shout out to him. Definitely liked it. Let me know what y'all thought about it. Fourth album, Young Thug's Slime Season 2. Now I know y'all who are about your lyrical rap are gonna hate me for this, but I can't help but love me some Young Thug. I love me some Future. Y'all know I'm all about my lyrical and my 90s rap, and I always show love to that. But man, I'm a fan of hip hop, period, and I understand artist intent and stuff like that. So man, in terms of this trap movement going on in the South, more specifically the melodic trap movement that's going on with people like Skipper the Flipper and Migos and Young Thug and Future, guys like that, I'm definitely enjoying what they're doing in Slime Season 2. And there's certain artists, I would liken Young Thug to like a Fetty Wap in the fact that these guys are just putting out music and putting out music and putting out music and feeding the streets. I mean, Slime Season 1 came out in what, like September? And now we have Slime Season 2 over here. It came out the 31st on Halloween. And so I didn't even know this was gonna drop yet because I wasn't sure if he was gonna drop Migos Thuggin' or Slime Season 2, because originally he said Slime Season 2 coming out Halloween. He said Migos Thuggin' coming out Halloween or October 31st. And my brain didn't connect it till like we got like a week away from it. I was like, yo, is he he said the same date twice. Is he dropping both? And then he started dropping posts where he's like, which one do you want? Slime Season 2 or Migos Thuggin'? And because I'm a bigger fan of Young Thug's music than I am the Migos music, even though I really respect what Migos is doing, I'm a bigger fan of what Young Thug's doing right now. So I commented below, I was like, yo, Slime Season 2 for sure. And so he dropped Slime Season 2 and Migos Thuggin', I don't know if he has a date for that one yet. But yo, man, shout out to Young Thug. He's real consistent. If you're not a fan of Young Thug and you're looking for something different, then don't listen to Slime Season 2 because this is more of what we got. But I think it's quality work nonetheless. As of right now, no standout singles in my mind that really come to mind of what. But I do like the song Flaws with, I believe, Rachomi Kwan is on it, if I'm not, but Flowers and I like that song, man. It's quirky, it's funny, and, you know, it's stuck in my mind. But Slime Season 1 definitely had Power and Best Friend. It had Rari, Quarterback. There's tons of songs that I liked on Slime Season 1, and I still need more time to familiarize myself with Slime Season 2. But I definitely love, you know, what he's doing here. Is it sustainable? I can't speak to that. I don't know if he could do this for much longer or, you know, how long his longevity in this game will be. But you know, I think for now, you know, the fact that he's feeding the streets, and mind you, his music doesn't necessarily have the longest shelf life. I mean, I don't know how long this music is gonna speak to us as a culture. I don't know if 5 years from now, you know, we're gonna want to listen to Check or, you know, Hookah, which is just a feature about the money, or Peanut Butter Jelly with him on T.I.'s song. I just don't know if these songs will really hold up because it has a very modern sound to it. Modern for now. Modern is good when you're talking about a present context, but a lot of the most modern songs don't necessarily age the best. I mean, look at Soulja Boy's Crank That. I mean, as much as it did for the culture then, does it really stand up now? So in that regard, I'm really digging Slime Season 2. I'm really excited to see what he does, at least for the tail end of 2015. And I definitely, you know, put this on in the car and just go about my day, and really, it's a jam, man. It's definitely a great sequel to Slime Season 1. Next album we got is FX's Four Walls. This is actually the only Korean album that I have on this episode. I try to keep it, you know, as music-centric as possible, not just to my Korean inclination, just because the rest of my channel is Korean shit. So today, FX Four Walls, a little background, we have a Korean girl group out of SM Entertainment, sister group to like Girls' Generation and Red Velvet now. FX is my favorite group out of SM, period. Their music's always spoke to me in a different way. I felt like they were doing more ambitious and experimental things than their other groups. I think the other groups, as great as they are, play it a little safe. And they always go with really kind of like out in left field kind of themes. you know, this is the third album they've dropped in a row that I felt like would be a classic K-pop album. Pinocchio's their first album, and it does what it does, but, and you know what I mean, they have New ABO and Electric Shock, but and their Chew single, but I felt like what they are now really solidified and started with Pink Tape, followed up by Red Light, and now we have Four Walls. And at first when I heard Four Walls, it didn't really occur to me, oh yo, this is their fourth album. I was like, are they talking that they're like 4 members now? I was like, yo, are they trying to take shots at Sully? Like, what's good? But I was really nervous about going into this album just because of, for me, Pink Tape is the highest someone has gone in K-pop. To me, that is just an incredible K-pop album, and including the fact that K-pop is not an album-centric genre of music. It's super single-based. These guys aren't putting out albums. Like, I could think in the past few years, like, let's talk iconic K-pop albums in the past few years. Still Alive by Big Bang, Crush's Crush on You, FX's Pink Tape, and then I struggled to think of anything else that's really like iconic pieces. I mean, you have to go back to like TVXQ and Infinite and stuff like that. You can go back, but I'm talking about like front to back, you know, and Zaya has some albums in the past. But I mean, when we're talking like, you know, front to back classic fantastic albums, FX, man, three in a row right now, because I would put Four Walls among that. Four Walls is a fantastic album, man. I'm a huge fan. I mean, the songs Four Wall, Deja Vu, what is it called? Something, Rude Love, Glitter. I mean, the list goes on and on of just great songs. Poppy, oh my god, how I forget about Poppy. This album, I like the shift towards deep house influences that is going on in SM over there. And I don't know if this is a huge shift or that it just kind of play out like this, because Shiny's View earlier this year had the same vibe. May I drink some water? I have some water here. I'm tired. I do apologize. I'm not gonna edit that out. I'm not worried about it. Let's just keep going. FX's Four Walls. Yeah, so Shiny's View came out and that had a deep house influence. And so now we have FX's Four Walls that had a heavy deep house influence. And I'm definitely liking that shift towards that, because that's where modern music trends are going. If you look over here on the state side, Justin Bieber has some deep house influences, and I mean, there's plenty of artists. Selena Gomez, I've seen it utilize it. There's plenty of like artists over here stateside that are really doing this deep house kind of thing, especially with the prominence of like Disclosure, for example, coming over here stateside with their songs like Omen and Moving Mountains and stuff like that. They have that funk deep house influence that I haven't really seen since the 90s really dance movement. And so I'm digging what they're doing on FX, and definitely check that album. If you're a pop fan or a K-pop fan, but I would say even if you're an American pop fan, check out FX's Four Walls. I don't think you'll be let down. And now I'm going into my section of notable mentions, and I really do hope that this episode is not that long, my god. So I'm gonna breeze through these and just give you guys little you know, background on it. We got D12's Devil's Night that they also dropped on Halloween. D12, you know, collective out of Shady. You got Royce the 5'9". You got a couple MCs over there. R.I.P. Proofman. And so they dropped a project, you know, Eminem opening it up, and then great features after the point. I was hoping for a Slaughterhouse feature, but I don't think we got that per se, if I remember offhand. But dope, you know, Halloween album. It's not too late right now. It's early November, so you still have time to check out this and still have it, you know, speak to you on that level. But it's a very Halloween album in my opinion. We got Ace Hood's Starvation 4, you know, part of the Starvation movement, came into prominence, you know, with his song Bugatti. And, you know, just it's more of what he does, but I think it was a fun listen to, an easy listen, and you just put it in the car and go about your day, and it's a nice, you know, trap rap album. And then we got Fetty Wap and French Montana's collaborative album, Coke Zoo. You know, Fetty Wap putting out mad material. French Montana is preparing for his Mac and Cheese album. And so, you know, these two just together, they were on, I believe, a tour with Chris Brown, so they put this album together. It's definitely more French Montana centric, with Fetty put into it and sprinkled into it, but nonetheless, I think it's a great album. And, you know, for a long time, I was not a French Montana fan, but lately with his releases, I've been really seeing that I was like, yo, you know, he's not bad at all. I really was not a fan of his work. And I knew he had some songs like Pop That and Ocho Cinco and Sanctuary. That the only reason I like Sanctuary because that's that Kingdom Hearts instrumental. But I mean, we got Coke Zoo here, which is literally 100% what you expect. French Montana and Fetty Wap. Fetty Wap doing Yeah Baby and all that stuff like that. But I'm a big fan, and Fetty Wap has an EP coming out soon that I'll definitely be checking out. So these guys are just feeding the streets with their music. So I'm gonna go one more time through all the albums. We got Kyle's Smyle, one of Osiris' Soul Sphere, The Games Documentary 2.5, Young Thug's Slime Season 2, FX's Four Walls, and for notable mentions, D12's Devil's Night, Ace Hood's Starvation 4, and Fetty Wap's and French Montana's Coke Zoo. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoy making these. Keep, tuned for all the releases I have on my channel. Till next time, this is Jayvee. I love you guys. Bye.